So keep sight and speed is life.
So one of the big limitations that we have with the F-16 in the sim right now is the pilot can't sustain 9 Gs. I mean, the F-16, correct me if I'm wrong, like that entire cockpit is built for the pilot to be able to sustain a huge amount of G as easily as possible. Well, in DCS, we're not able to do that. You start blacking out, like actually blacking out at like 7 Gs, where if you sustain that, you're gonna black out. And it happens almost immediately. So the F-16 in its current environment is pretty well gimped because we can't, in the sim space, you can't push the 16 to the limit where it needs to be to make it advantageous.
Well, then you're taking all of the strategic or the tactical advantage of the F-16 away by limiting its.
I don't think it's anything they meant to do. I think it's just an issue with the G modeling in DCS, the pilot G modeling. I think a lot of the aircraft suffer from it, but the F-16 being designed to be on that limit suffers from it the most because it's, I mean, the F-18 has a better instantaneous turn rate, right? Like its ability to pull massive amounts of AOA, and I think the Tomcat to that same extent has the F-16 beat. The F-16 shines at the ability to sustain, and if you take that away with its ability to maintain that 9G plus, you're taking away a lot of its pros.
Absolutely. So right now we just saw what's called a falling leaf fight, where 2 planes are going straight nose down, trying to be the last one to get to the bottom. The F-17 was able to do that. If I were the F-16 pilot, I wouldn't do that. That's not what the plane's designed to do. I would have taken it vertical up high and let the F-17 flush out below me.
Okay.
It kind of looks like they're in a neutral left bear right now. Maybe the F-17 has a little bit of a positional advantage, which he is now converting to more. Oh. And the F-16 pulled off for a second, gave me.
Yeah, I was just checking the energy states. The F-16's at about 460 knots.
Oh, well,
the 16 I think is closer to its ideal turn speed.
What's the F-17 at?
He's at 350.
Yeah, so if I were the F-16, I would literally go just pure vertical right now. He's not threatened. The guy can come up with him and just outsky the F-17, and then once he falls off, hit your re-entry.
Key being that you want to be patient. You want to keep the altitude until you can find the entry point to gain the advantage coming back down on your opponent. Yeah. I think that's a big problem in the virtual scene is that people aren't patient enough. They want to pull to try and get that kill immediately, and they're not patient or disciplined enough to outweight their opposition to wait for the time to present itself. The F-16 in this situation, he was getting closer to causing an overshoot while jinking, but he broke it off. And is that in that situation, should he have continued doing what he was doing, or would you break off in that situation and try and extend it and try something else?
I mean, like I said earlier, reversing is usually a bad game plan. You're solving the angles problem for your opponent, as he did right here. So the F-17 looks like he's being nice and patient. He's got to do some high and low yo-yos here at this point to bring his nose to bear. There you go. See, the guy's going up now, and then he reversed. So that's see how that solved the problem for the F-17. He got it, and he can do it again. So I would not reverse him. There you go. Oh, come on.
Oh, he got him. So he actually was able to reverse the fight, got guns on target, and hit. Obviously, the F-16 took some damage, but the 16's M61 was able to be more conducive in just taking the 17 or Gloria out of the fight. Now the question is since the 16 has sustained battle damage, it doesn't look like it from this angle, but I swore I saw some stuff come off of him. Will he be able to land?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. Oh, maybe not. I don't know if that's a victory roll or. That was a nice, nice turn of fortune there.
It was
snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. The F-17 really squandered that offensive opportunity. He looks like he was super offensive, getting shots on target, and then he just flew right in front of the F-16.
Yeah,
allowed.
Yeah, but that was kind of one of the things that you just talked about, where he kind of reversed. Like, he reversed right in front of the nose of the 16 and just gave that away. I would think if you screw up, you just you're almost committed to your screw up, where you got to carry it on and continue that screw up in order to make it so you don't put yourself in a worse position by trying to reverse it.
Yes, exactly right. So yeah. So, stay around 400 knots, no less than 400 knots. I think the clean F-16 corner speed's just over 400 knots.
Yeah.
So keep that going until your opponent makes a mistake, and then just go pure vertical. Like I said, it's called exclusive use turn room. So if you can go up and your opponent can't, you've won the fight. 45 seconds before it actually ends.
So I'm just checking the message. So these guys have now entered the merge. The F-16 came in at about 500 knots. I'm going to assume the JF-17 did about the same. Based on engine performance, I'm going to give the advantage in the turn fight, even with the pilot G modeling to the 16, as long as the pilot doesn't black out, which can happen pretty quickly in DCS. How often did you guys fly against 16s?
A fair amount, because Top Gun had them, so we would get to go fight against them. When I was in the fleet, we didn't fly against them very much at all. But I've got a fair amount of fighting against them. They're a tough plane to beat. If they're clean, they're essentially impossible to beat, in my experience. All right, so F-16, what's his knots right now? 300, 350?
F-16's pushing about 450 knots. So the JF-17 is significantly slower, which causes the Theodore and the F-16 to overshoot. Gloria does a decent job of reversing the turn. I'm assuming when you know you're at the 6 of your opponent, it's okay to reverse, and those are the times that you should, to try and get to solve the problems for you.
That was called a 3-9 overshoot, so that was a good time to reverse. Now,
but the problem in that situation, though, at least how it was executed by Gloria, is he sacrificed a significant amount of energy and has now fallen a bit behind. He now has to make up by pulling lead to shorten the distance between him and his opposition.
Yep, so if I were the F-16 pilot, I would have gone pure vertical after that overshoot, instead of just pulling in the horizontal or ditching nose low now.
Ground may become... Oh, I thought the ground was going to become a factor there. So Theodore is now down to 270 knots. Let's check the airspeed of...
I'm well behind you. I think I'm about 7 seconds behind you here.
Well, yeah, I don't know what's going on or why it's that delayed for you.
That's all right.
But we'll
all right, so
we'll make it up.
On the bottom here, let's see where the airspeed. I only see one airspeed, 300 knots or so.
Yeah, you can't see the farther plane because we're padlocked to Theodore.
Okay,
so you can't see the JF-17. So I'm only making some assumptions.
300 knots. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's 340 knots.
370. Yeah, I'm behind you a little bit. So yeah. Knots, man, speed is life. Right now, I would unload, get 500 knots, instead of reversing. There's no need to, right?
Mm-hmm. See, what I'm hearing a lot from you is that these guys should be more patient and unload and get that speed back. And they're trying to just make things happen effectively now, instead of playing the longer game, getting the energy back, and then making decisions based on that in the longer, more patient game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not just a DCS issue. That's a real world issue as well. Pilots, one of the biggest mistakes in dogfighting is not being patient enough. So yeah, it's just a matter of time now. It looks before the F-17 is able to gun this poor F-16 who's not.
Well, yeah, as long as he doesn't unload and extend.
He's got 400 and some knots. He should just pull pure vertical, not oblique.
Right, because the JF-17 is not going to be able to stay with him. I think people, once they get into this defensive posture, they kind of panic, and they think that the guy's got a gun solution even from that far away, and they're not considering the strengths of their own aircraft, where the 16 has a significant power advantage over the JF-17. Power thrust to weight ratio, they can do it. But he ended up being able to reverse it, and commit into that. and he broke away. He just gave away all of his advantage there. He had the 6 of Gloria and just gave it all away.
Yeah.
Man. And for anybody that's just joining us, our guest today, and Paco, you're going to have to correct me again if I'm wrong. Paco Carici, did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Paco Carici, he is the author of Lines of the Sky and the producer of Speed and Angels. He served a significant amount of time in the U.S. Navy, flew A-6 Intruders, F-14 Tomcats, and then flew aggressors in the F-5 Tiger. It was the F-5 or the T-38?
F-5. Huge difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So flew aggressors for the F-5. So anybody joining us, Paco is here commentating with us, and then next week we will be joined by Vincent Aiello or Jello. So Paco was kind enough to do it this week, and we've got Jello next week. Paco, you've got about 30 minutes left, right?
Yes, sure.
I think.
Sorry.
Okay. So it looks like Theodore in his F-16's gotten position back. He's done better at managing his airspeed. He stayed about 350, 400 knots. He's got the power advantage, so he should be able to close the distance on the JF-17, but I think he lost sight again, and he's banking away. Or he blacked out.
He's banking away, yeah. Oh, and there's smoke out there, too.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate.
Oh, but he's doing a nice job going vertical. He's got 500-ish knots.
Yeah. Gloria, though, seems to know exactly where Theodore is. And when your opponent knows where you are, but you don't know where he is, you're in a bit of trouble.
That's
What's the best way in this situation to find the guy? Do you just want to go into an orbit, like a high-speed orbit, where even if the guy sees you, he's not going to be able to catch you, to be able to consistently scan the sky? Or what is your method for trying to relocate a lost opponent?
Well, there's usually a quadrant that you lost them in, right? So you lost them over your left shoulder or your right shoulder. Whatever that direction that is, you want to unload, get as many knots as you can, but keep that turn going so that they can't get a long-range shot on you with guns. And then once you're up to your 450 knots, keep a pretty tight turn going, maintaining that airspeed. Oh, here we go.
So Theodore is able to relocate Gloria, and Gloria just wasn't able to capitalize on any of the openings that Theodore was presenting to him. And Theodore is able to relocate Gloria and re-engage in the fight. But Theodore, just stay vertical. I thought they were going to collide there, but Theodore gets the M61 on him and is able to cause a fire on Gloria's JF-17. So that, I think, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be it.
Yeah, that was
what a change of events. Theodore goes from losing sight and losing the fight to kicking Gloria out of the match.
Was that a gunshot, or you just?
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, it was. I heard the gun go off like right as they came in front of him, so they were like inches from colliding, but the gun definitely went off and ripped Gloria's wing off.
Wow. Well, Theodore 2 times in a row gets a super close range, a high tracking rate gunshot. That's pretty amazing.
Yep. So talking about the gun real quick while we're watching Theodore land. Tomcat is the M61, right? That's the gun it uses.
Yeah, everybody uses the M61.
So, but when I guess the direction I'm going that is the gun dispersion on the various aircraft different, or do the guns operate the same on all of them, or do they change some parameters based on the aircraft's characteristics?
No, they are, to the best of my knowledge, exactly the same. The biggest difference is that the magazines are a different size. So the F-14 have 700 plus rounds. I don't know how many the F-16 has, maybe 300, not many. But the Hornet, the Tomcat, the F-16, the F-15, all have the M61, and then the A-10 has got that 30 millimeter cannon.
Right.
And then the F-35 has got a new gun. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a different one.
Right.
25 millimeter.